Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, episode 239 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's Ezio Auditore with me tonight?
This is Joe Butler, and if I had a nickel for every time I had to fist fight the Pope, I'd have a few.
Wow.
I'm curious now, what other games have you fist fight the Pope?
Dark Souls.
I do not remember this.
Yeah, hi, I'm Alan. I'm happy to be here. I never have anything to plug for these, but I'm happy to be here and just provide my opinion on the game.
And this is Richard Sampson from the YouTube channel Rich Kale and various fan fiction sites all over the internet somewhere in dark corners. And I must remind you, never trust a Borgia.
Also, nothing is true, everything is permitted, right? Isn't that the saying in this?
Yes, that is.
Okay, I should know. I spent 30 hours playing this game over the last week or two. So. But we are here to talk about Assassin's Creed 2, developed by Ubisoft Montreal, came out in 2009, 2 years after Assassin's Creed 1, which a lot of people bitched about. And we talked about a few months. It's been a few months. I don't remember when we did, but we did it.
Are people mad it came out 2 years too longer?
No, people just weren't happy with the first game because it was people consider it very repetitious. So people were like, we're just upset. And I always remember that because when this game came out, I had played the first one in 2009 because it was $5 at GameStop. So I was like, oh, cool, I'll just play this. I just got my 360. I was excited. And I remember when this came out, I had no interest in it because I'm like, well, I'll just wait until it's cheap. It's Ubisoft. And I remember my buddy bought this the day it came out and loved it. And yeah. I had forgotten a lot about this game, and I also couldn't remember what was from Brotherhood and what was from this game. So I was like, wait, did this event happen in Brotherhood? This event in this game? I cannot remember which one is which.
I had that happen quite a few times, and I'll explain when we get there eventually. But yeah, I bought this for like $5 whenever I bought my 360 at first, and then I want to say it was like a year before Brotherhood came out. I bought that, so I played pretty much the entire Ezio saga whenever they came out.
Okay, that's a good way to do it. I mean, it's good to play these games right away if you can. Alan, what is your history with it?
Oh, this game came out 2008, 2009. I was in high school. I was in 10th grade, so that's like right when you learn about world history, and the Renaissance is like a huge part of it. And I'm Italian, so this game had just like every absolute bias for me to buy it day one. I obsessed over this game. I remember the trailers, all the gameplay that they showed for E3. I read the Game Informer, when it was on was it the cover story for that one?
I cannot remember.
It definitely had a big spread, and I poured over that too. So I was blown away by this game from before it even came out, and of course when it did.
And Richard, what is your history?
This is the first time I've ever played the game for this podcast, and I'm going to admit this was definitely different from the first one.
Mm-hmm. You're in for a ride because you're experiencing all these for the first time, and you're in for a ride with a lot of highs, and then we'll get to the lows later, I think. So there's a low not that far away either. So
This game has one of my favorite moments, which I want to get into real quickly because it's the ending of the game as well. You can really tell when a game is made sometimes, and I feel like it shouldn't be too heavy-handed, or a movie. One of my favorite facts that me and my partner do is, was this movie made before or after the Twin Towers fell? Because some movies you can really tell it was made right after those towers fell.
Yeah.
And this one is what era is it made in? Because which it's the first Lara Croft movie. Does anyone remember what the bad guy is for the first Lara Croft movie? The live action one with
a white guy. That's all I remember.
He was sort of like a renegade member of the Illuminati, I think.
Yes, because the Illuminati was big back in like 2000 and something. And this one, it's revealed that the main plot is the end of the world in 2012. So,
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah,
I should know. I played all these up to Unity, and that's where I stopped because I didn't have an Xbox One at the time, and I never went back yet, unfortunately. Even though I have multiple copies of the game, I have multiple ways to play it. I just never went to Unity, and I'm not going to until we get there through this main series.
How did you guys play this, by the way?
Computer. Mouse and keyboard. That's how I play these games.
Oh God, not even a controller?
Hey, I get it's. I have been playing computer games without controller since what year did I get first get a computer? Mid-80s?
Back in my day, we just had a mouse and keyboard.
Back before a mouse wasn't a peripheral on a computer.
I played this on PC. I tried to play it on Steam Deck, but it would not run on Steam Deck, which I think is because I was trying to do like an installer for Ubisoft. And by doing that, I think I fucked things up and it would not run on my Steam Deck.
I believe that.
So I think I fucked it over, but that's fine.
I played it through, the Ezio collection. It works great. And on the Series X, it has, 60 frames and upscaled. So I was like, heck yeah. It's still backwards compatible too. I could have just played the 360 version, but why?
Yeah, you have you have another version to play. And
I wouldn't call it better with at least some of the visuals.
Yeah, no, I heard.
But
yeah,
for like gameplay, game feel, yeah, it's good.
I suppose you had access to some of the extra stuff too with the Ezio collection.
That's everywhere now. Even on like the regular PC version, the DLC is just in there now. So.
Well, no, not all of it is. I think some of it you have to access the Ubisoft server or something.
Oh,
for some of the stupid secrets. Yeah.
I mean, I did that on the original version that I still kept, so I didn't,
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play those, but they weren't main They weren't main games, so
Even the 2 DLC sequences could easily be taken out of this game, and the game is better for it.
Well, I think the 2 DLC sequences were originally not part of it.
No, they weren't.
And then they released them after the fact, but I did enjoy those sequences.
I enjoyed one of them. I did not enjoy the other at all. But
I think they were just capital F fine. No, not bad, not good.
No, I guess it's just because I couldn't at first I couldn't remember I even played them because I bought this game 360. I remember they were DLCs, and I bought this game for PS3 at some point in it. I actually had an Ezio collection from PS3, which had this Brotherhood and Revelations, and that had the DLC on there because I did play through it because I did remember it. That was back before I learned do not play the same series one after another, or you will be upset. You also because I get burned out then of a series. Like when I did play this last time, I played 2 Brotherhood and then Revelations, and by Revelation, I was just fucking done with Ezio. Should not do
sequence that. Like Sequence 12 and Sequence 13, they were not part of the original, but
they're okay.
I do like that they help patch up the in between Chapter 11 and Chapter 14.
And Alan's right. I mean, they are fine. I think 13 just irritated me because it took me a while and I was ready to be done. I wanted to beat the game so I could move on to the next game. But
13 had that. I think there's going to be one of those assassinations that 13 is going to be a bitch for somebody in this group.
Yeah, there were a couple that gave me trouble, and it just they don't hurt the game. I mean, they don't bring it down. It just lengthens your gameplay. But one thing that I had forgotten a lot about Assassin's Creed 2. Like, I remember bits and pieces that this game opens up with them escaping from Evstervos and all that. I couldn't, again, I was confused. Like, the place that they go to in this game is not the place I thought they were going to go to because I was thinking of Brotherhood.
Oh, yeah.
Because Brotherhood, they go to a different base, I do not want to spoil to Rich. So, but, like, I couldn't, it's just so weird how these 2 games are really entwined in my head where I cannot, it took me a while to figure out what is in what. Like when I went to replay it. But to get back to my point, like I love the modern day Desmond stuff, and I love all that. I love the fact, like, Lucy is helping you escape, and just everything with it. I really, really enjoy.
Oh, I just appreciate from a narrative standpoint that they really do pick up just right at the millisecond that the first one ended. I feel like too many stories in media always do some kind of time skip because they're like too afraid, or actually there's too many moving pieces to like. Match someone up with age and stuff like that between filming, and all that stuff can happen. So it is refreshing to be like, oh, wow, it really just picks up.
Or when Lucy first approaches you, she has blood on herself.
Right. That was.
I like that.
That was a very nice thing that they did because they did leave that first one off as a cliffhanger.
There's a weird continuity error. I don't know if it's because I also played the remastered version or if the game is just dumb. You get a real quick recap in the beginning, and Desmond talks about how Lucy's missing one of her fingers. But when I was like walking with her, I do not see her missing any finger at all. So I don't know if that was a model mistake or if they didn't think you would look close enough.
They referenced it in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna make me go back and like boot up the 360 version.
My guess is either it's a model error or maybe let's just say she has a fake finger, but she didn't. No, it might have been an issue.
Actually,
I can't tell. I'm trying to look. I mean, honestly, if you were trying to, sneak around, you could easily put a fake finger there. You just, it doesn't work very well if you don't use it.
Yeah, They would absolutely look out for a missing finger, right? They'd be like,
Yeah.
We never did. We don't do that, guys.
So, I mean, also, I didn't know this until sometime after we did Assassin's Creed 1. Christian Bell is the voice of Lucy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I like her a lot. I mean, Veronica Mars, my wife, a big Veronica Mars fan, and she was in The Good Place. Good show, by the way. And I was like, that is awesome that she did the voice for Lucy.
I remember her from this horror movie, but I can't remember the dang name from the early odds. Definitely had to do with video, though.
Usually, I like her a lot. So it just made me happy. I mean, this game, it does a good job of really getting you into the moment and having some, present day stuff to then, I guess it's supposed to be present day, or to get you then to, when them leaving the place, go to where their base and go in the Animus 2.0. Like when you're escaping, like when you see all these different just offices, I really like that. I like the whole corporate evil feel.
Yeah, it does have that feel.
And lore implications too.
So Alan, have you played more of the series, like most of it or all of it?
I think the only thing I really haven't played is, as far as I can remember, is like obviously like all the handheld spin-offs and including even when they ported Liberation, I still haven't touched it.
Liberation,
I think Origins too. I just never played either.
Oh, because I mean, I love the future stuff. I have heard through the grapevine that the future stuff kind of takes a back seat later on. Like they don't do that anymore.
That would be an apt, accurate statement. Yeah.
So that kind of bummed me out. I know a little bit about it. Like I played 4 and I played Rogue, but I don't remember much for either of them.
I mean, if we want to talk about it just a little bit, I think that's the most disappointing thing is that you would think all of this medieval and time like past parkour would lead to more modern day parkour. And yeah, it just does not really happen much in the whole series.
It's not really a spoiler, but I'll give you all that. Did anybody get the secret ending?
There's a secret ending.
Oh, are you talking about the truth?
Yeah, the truth.
Yes.
That is never brought up ever.
It isn't?
Nope. It's none of that's ever brought up ever. It's Adam and Eve doing parkour through.
That.
Yeah, because I know Richard did 100% of this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that. I didn't think that was an ending.
It's a secret ending because you technically can't get it until you beat the game, but it's never brought up in the entire Assassin's Creed
I would
series.
say it's basically brought up in a way, it's just never actually told in any fleshed out way. You know what I mean?
It's sort of the way it gives the vibe it gives me, given the ending and all that they are the precursors of the civilization before.
Yeah.
That they were the birth of our civilization.
Pretty much that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, I know from what I have played up to that storyline with Minerva and the alien gods that continues on for a bit, but once I get to 4 and Rogue, I don't know what happens after that.
I know what happens. It's interesting, but they take a different turn with it, and it kind of goes into a little bit what's going on with this game, but I'm not gonna.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to go there yet.
I don't want to go there yet.
I mean, I will say Desmond's story does wrap up in Assassin's Creed 3. I will say that. That's all I want to say on that. But for Richard, they do put a bow on his story at 3, and then they go a different direction.
Oh yeah, I'm gathering that from what I can read of the timeline of all the games.
You guys,
there's a bow put on the story. So
you guys want another weird?
Although I should say this now. The upcoming, I think, the VR release will have Ezio back.
We're making a VR game.
They are getting a VR game.
I don't know if I'd want to play that. I hate heights.
I don't know either if I'd want to play it myself, but Roger Craig Smith is, and I've been seeing news about that, and I said, yeah, he's the one who said it's the VR game.
Listen, I'll dabble. I'll take the bait. I'll get a MetaQuest 3 and dabble. Why not?
I'll take the bait because I very specifically has a VR set, and it's sitting there collecting dust, so I need something to play on it.
Yeah, but are you terrified of heights? Because I am.
Yes, but it's fine. I'll deal with it.
It's not real, so you're like,
I'll just be close to my bed so that if I feel like I'm going to fall, I'll be all right.
I hate fucking heights. So I'm like,
if they make me
don't know how that would be
in VR. I will just leap of faith onto my bed.
I can sit down, so it's fine. It's all good in the hood.
But no, this game then gets you into the whole Ezio thing, and it does a really good job of making you care for Ezio. Like, I had forgotten that this game takes place over 22 or 28 years of his life.
Oh, his entire life. You see him technically get born into, so
yeah. But I mean, it goes
you control his little arms and his little legs and his head.
That was funny. That was a funny little part.
So technically, you're there from 5 seconds all the way till Revelations when he's, I don't know.
He's old, but in this game, I think
old
he's
age
like,
of 50.
I think in this game he's 40 or something. He's got to be in his 30s or 40s, easy.
I want to say this game goes from when he's like 15, 16 to I think the game ends when he's like 30 because this goes to when he's 30. Revelation goes from like 30 to maybe 50, and then the Revelation.
You're talking about Brotherhood, you mean?
Brotherhood, my bad. Yeah, Revelations is when he's like 50.
Yeah, because Revelation he's old, and then that kind of wraps up his story.
Knowing that, it was really funny in the opening of Brotherhood when he's climbing for the first time when you're playing as him, and he's like complaining that his back hurts.
Yes.
And I'm like, you should. There's a whole other game, dude.
Hey, it's fair. When you start getting in your 30s, things start hurting.
Your skeleton speaks to you more. It tells you when it doesn't like stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, they do such a good job of just like showing Ezio before he's an assassin and having you do like just random shit with his brothers to make that scene really hit harder.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Because like when they kill the brothers and they hang them, and you first get the assassin's outfit and that whole stuff, that's a still. I mean, even all these years later, that's still a very jarring moment.
Yeah, definitely. That was definitely jarring, but it adds to why it basically fast tracks Ezio into the assassin order. And he's basically learning it as he goes along. I mean, he's on a, quote, quest for revenge that has gotten a little bit more complicated as he continues.
Oh, for sure.
But
Complicated,
also,
but definitely easier than most revenge stories I've ever watched or read.
No,
Yes.
it cannot be easy. We're talking,
Like, what a great way to enact revenge by joining a group of people whose whole sole purpose is to kill. And the person that you're trying to avenge was already part of that group. What an in, right?
Yeah,
There it
but
is.
I mean, also, we're not talking about. It's not going to be easy. I mean, as it's revealed, you only know them as the Spaniard. But when I think it gets revealed somewhere. I think even in the early chapters, we're dealing with a Borgia.
Yeah, you find that out pretty early.
Yeah, which is one of the most infamous families in history. I mean, the show that was on based off them, I probably would guess that it most likely tamed some of their escapades down.
So wait, you're telling me that's actually based off a real Italian family?
Yeah, the Borgia was a real Italian family, and one did become Pope.
Yeah, this was back when Ubisoft was doing a lot of research to make these quasi historically accurate. So the Medici is a real dude. Obviously Machiavelli. Who was the girl with the redhead? Her story in particular is surprisingly accurate and weird.
Like the part where she shows off her bottom and says, "I can make more children."
They actually specifically reference that because that's a direct quote that she said.
Yeah.
IRL. So yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I even learned about the Borgia family when I was in high school.
I don't remember. I don't think I was. I vaguely remember. Like, of course, I knew who Leonardo was, but I mean, why wouldn't I? He was a turtle, so of course I know who he is. But like, I knew who Da Vinci was. Like, I knew some of the stuff back then.
Yeah.
But no, that's one thing that attracted me to the series is how they really did try to like make the cities, accurate as they could.
Oh yeah, and I got to admit, it was very enjoyable to be going through to go through that in Venice, in Florence,
Tuscany,
yeah, those are just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. The graphics, even like, because I played I played the old. I didn't play the remaster. I played the PC version of 09, and this game was still fucking look good. Like, I had no issues whatsoever with the graphics or the gameplay. Well, I did jump to my death a couple times, but I don't know if I really blame the game or me. So
I think it shows its age a little bit. I think like a lot of the stilted like animations and little flaps can definitely get some touching up. A little bit of the foliage still flat, But like in terms of like, oh my god, these still like the crowds is still pretty good, pretty amazing compared to other games.
Also, I don't know if it's just like they try to do it in the other games, but them speaking Spanglish in like all three of these games is just peak like voice acting dialogue including, because like having them like cuss and then having Ezio saying what happens in Italian after he has every kill is just probably just peak gameplay.
The subtitles were on, so I could learn all the swear words.
I mean, subtitles are on for me too. I mean, part of that's just like that's what you have to do if you're going to make something triple budget. If you had everything in Italian like it should be, people wouldn't buy it then.
I did go back and play this with Italian voice acting on for sure.
Oh,
I was that like happy with this game.
okay. I never did that. But that would be kind of cool.
Might do that with Brotherhood.
If I ever do that, I'll do it. If I don't, I don't.
Because there are times when I'm busy and I just have headphones in one ear so I can hear some of what's going on. So.
I mean, I do like the explanation that they put in first game on why they sound like they're speaking modern day English.
I mean, they address that in the first game, right? It's the Animus basically trying to fill in, gaps in. Yeah, because obviously, people who aren't college-educated scholars of ancient Italian aren't like jumping in this Animus, or anything like that. So they had to basically, dumb it down.
It's like it was like the TARDIS, Doctor Who explaining why why everybody sounds like they're speaking English in the past, in the future, and all that. It's just the TARDIS's language translation circuits working for you. Because if you try and speak in the native language, you're like, "What are you saying?"
Right. I've heard there's plenty of fantasy, like sci-fi, where it's like, oh no, we have like a chip in our ears or something like that. Like in Cyberpunk, like you watch in Cyberpunk, it's cool. Like you'll because they do it in the subtitles. You'll watch someone talking in like Japanese, and you'll see the subtitles start in Japanese and then translate as it's speaking into English, and it's like, oh, that's cool because everyone obviously like has ocular implants that would like basically do that for you. So yeah.
Sadly,
I like it. It never took me out of the moment of what's happening.
Sadly, though, they slowed down that just a little bit. I don't know if it's because they don't want to try or anything, but like my point of reference is I've played enough of them, but the only one that I've recently played is Ragnarok. And Ragnarok, they basically put it down to basically either cuss words or like one word and like a sentence and something in Swedish or something.
You mean Valhalla?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Same thing.
My thing was, how can all these illiterate people write so many nodes?
Yeah.
I mean, and there was a decent amount of, like, I felt like this game also did, well, I mean, it did a much better job with the missions, of keeping the missions varied enough and keeping the story, like, you just can't stop continuing with the story.
Yeah, that was actually very nice because, well, in some ways it's nice. I mean, after the first game where you sort of have a reset after you complete one of your missions or one of your
assassinations.
Yeah, you jump out of the Animus or fast travel to and you have to redo all this again. But when it just flows almost nonstop, it's easy to keep you engrossed in it. That makes you then like, I haven't jumped out of this in a while. Am I going to jump out of this or anything like that?
Not often. Like, he's in this world like all the time, which I like.
Yeah, and they explain some of the downsides of that.
Which is partly like the whole point of this experiment, or what they're doing is, I mean, one, they're trying to find the apple, which they, found with Altair, but they didn't figure out where it went from there. And then, they're trying to find more of where it's actually located at, but also they're trying to teach Desmond to get caught up in being an assassin so he can fight.
Yeah, that. But I also like how, as you're progressing, everything is naturally introduced to you. Like assassination missions. It gets naturally introduced into the game of doing these side assassinations. The courier missions. You start it, you get open to it by actually having to run a letter for somebody.
Yeah,
same with the race.
Really good job with that.
Yeah, and of course the dreaded feathers, which has been long mocked about the second game.
Well, it's also it's a weird thing where the feathers give you a really good upgrade, but you really don't need that upgrade after you've hopefully having 99% of the game.
I think that's just a thing of open world games, especially in this time frame, where we'll give you some awesome upgrade for doing some insane task, but at that point, it doesn't matter. That's why we're giving it to you.
Yeah.
ABCs of open world games, always be collecting. If apparently if you're just not collecting in an open world game, it's not a good game somehow. I don't know.
And this is also early achievements still at this time.
Oh yeah. That's
so true. I mean, it was like, what can we do to make our game longer so people, because this also would have been a time, I think, I want to say we were still in that time where a game was also graded on how long does it take to complete it. Like, it has to be a long game or it's not worth your $60.
This was the first game, though, I think, where I've openly remarked on the open world map, looking at it and seeing so many icons and being like, I don't like this.
Wait till you play 3. Well, I know you have, but
I know. Oh, yeah.
3 is when it got me, and I'm like, yeah, that's when it hit me, from what I remember.
Well, all the icons were very good to keep a track of things. I got to admit that.
Like you were.
Yeah.
It's true. Because once you realize most of them are just for the shops and stuff, then you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad, except these are all closed. I got to open them.
Did you go for, Richard, did you get all the chests too?
Yes, I did.
Damn.
And this is something. When you're going to need to buy stuff to increase your allotment and everything, there's a reason to get the chests. If you want to purchase the paintings for the villa, you need money. But until you get the villa, you don't learn that the place is going to actually accumulate money for you until you actually go to the villa and agree to stay, which is after I think you can finish your second kill in the game.
Yeah, when you kill, Firenze? I think you kill his son first, and then you kill his father?
The son first, yeah.
I had thought the son had survived. I thought the son was in Brotherhood, but that's somebody else that's in the big villain of Brotherhood.
In an alternate reality, the son does survive, and we have a really cool showdown at the end of this game. But we're second to last showdown. You know I'm right, but yeah, you kill him very early on in the game. I remember because I was
surprised.
It wasn't this time I played it. It was the first time I played it, which is the moment where I realized like I would fall in love with this game. Is I was using the knife to fight him, and I did one of the deflect. So when I deflected him, the killing animation I got that slowed down is Ezio just stabbing him in the chest like 50 times with the knife. And I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a great game.
I mean, it is. I mean, like to go along like with like the open world stuff, like. I mean, there are a lot of icons, but for me, other than all the chests, which I was okay with it, it didn't feel overwhelming to me. It isn't really until I think Assassin's Creed 3 is when I got overwhelmed. Because the side missions here, like, I needed money, so I was fine with doing them. It felt like it had a purpose. I mean, I started skipping my rule of thumb was for the most part until near the end of the game when I said I'm done, because it happened to be every open world game. Where I was trying to do all the assassination missions until I got to one that I just could not do. There was one on a bridge. You had to kill like 10 of the big guards in like a minute and a half. I couldn't pull that off. I was like, I'll come back to this. I never did. And there was a couple others where like, oh, don't get seen by these archers. Where I just said, fuck it, and left because they kept seeing me. But
my barometer for collection is like, how easy is it to get the cool armor? Like in this case, it was like a Grandmaster armor, the black, like not Altair coat, but it was awesome.
The Altair stuff is really like, because if I remember correctly, I want to say all the Assassin's Creeds after this one have dungeons like this where you get the armor pieces or you get the seals. I think that becomes like a staple, right?
Yeah.
Okay. God, it's been a while.
But they're done really well. I enjoyed all of them.
They are, and I just wish all those assassins had games or had more to them. I don't think any of those assassins are referenced like ever in a game or anything, right?
Nope.
At this point yet?
Nope.
It's so weird that that's the case, right? Because they literally go to almost every location mentioned on those and use a lot of the weapons that were mentioned by those assassins, but then never let us see them. Yeah.
Maybe someday. I mean, maybe someday we'll get them. I mean, the series did the series take a break, or was Valhalla last year?
We're getting Mirage this year.
I was gonna say, like, it didn't so much take a break. They just basically just gave their developers more time at one point, and I think that was between What's the one?
No, it wasn't like Origins or
what's
Odyssey.
the one in England? What's the one in England that also I think
Syndicate?
Syndicate. Okay, I think it was between Syndicate and Origins is when they gave them like, oh yeah, we'll give you an extra years, and then from then on, I think again, did it pick back up? Was Origins to Odyssey another 1 year, or was it 2 years?
I've been out of the loop for Assassin's Creed for a very long time.
Okay, fair enough. I would think as soon as they finished up Syndicate, that's when they basically just opened up an extra year. So instead of every year, I think it's every 2 years.
That's good, because every year was just too much for people.
They fixed it now, which is actually even more different. It's every couple of years, but what they do now is they did it with Odyssey and Ragnarok, and I'm assuming they're going to do the same thing with Mirage. So you have, give an example, Ragnarok and Odyssey, or Valhalla and Odyssey, where they come out 1 year, and then the next year you have a big DLC pack come out. And then the year after that, you have another big DLC pack come out. And then at the end of that, they announce what the next game is.
Okay, because as much as I like
live service games now, of course.
Oh, yeah. I hope that goes away.
I think it is because
we'll
people...
see how Mirage does.
Yeah, people are getting sick of the RPG elements, and that's the point of Mirage. Mirage is even shorter apparently now too, because they said that they're only going to charge like $50 for it.
I'm curious if they're going to branch off and just like, Zelda it with a 2D and a 3D split, but here it'll be a mechanics kind of split where
I would like that
stealth.
personally.
I think they are, because they announced that they had like 3 announcements where they had one of them I'm really excited for, which is a
Project Red, I think. What?
Yeah, Project Red's based off of a mobile game, but that might get the Mirage treatment. The Japanese game I know is going to get the RPG one, and the one that I'm really excited for is there's a Wiccan one that's coming out. That's going to be about spells and shit.
Oh.
But I know I think there's another Chinese one coming out. I think it's Jade. I know there's a red one and then there's a Jade one. But I know one of them is going to be a mobile game. That's probably going to be Pokemon Go. But
I thought that was what Jade was going to be. I thought Red was what the Japanese one was.
Oh no, Red's Russian, I think, or is it?
Oh, Red's Russian.
That's
Red
cool. I mean,
could be
there is one Russia one kind of with the 2D side scroller ones.
Yeah, it became like a 3. There's like it's India, China, and Russia, correct?
Yeah, I have all 3, but I never played them yet.
Me neither. Yeah, another gap.
I'll change that at some point. So don't worry. I'll give you a reason to actually play them. Just like I'll be forced to.
Oh, and to make fun of him because he's not here, the main thing that this game focuses on, because since it's Assassin's Creed 2, you get 2 hidden blades.
2 hidden blades, bitch. There you go. We'll see if he listens to it. I'll probably hear about it if he listens to it.
I mean, if we're just going to get into the combat of this game,
sure,
I can tell you right now, it is chef's kiss compared to the first game. It moves in every single way, and those 2 hidden blades do help.
Yeah, they do. They make it better to, quote, fight by using the hidden blades, but having 2 of them, it's like you're double armed, because, it's like, if they're going to watch where one hand's going, where they know the blade is, and then the other one comes out with a blade, they're like, oh, shit.
You also have the really fun new mechanic of double assassinating people, so that's pretty cool, too.
Oh, yes.
That really helps.
I mean, they overhauled everything with the combat. I would say this. Well, number one, they also improved countering with the hidden blades. Like, they actually made it a viable thing. You can do it in Assassin's Creed 1 with the hidden blade. You can just use it solely in combat, but it's the timing window for that counter is literally pixel perfect.
Yeah.
Feels good to do, though. But in this game, you can actually literally block with them and not, take damage, so it's viable. But once I found out what the counter system was like, I just stayed disarmed the entire time because I loved taking people's weapons and then killing them with it. And their animations were brutal.
Yes, they are.
And they never do them anything like that again either.
I think your hidden blade, like the counter and everything, is also affected by the armor you get, because in this game you also have like 5 armor choices: your leg, your shoulders, your chest, and your arms.
Yep.
You can also buy a glove for unarmed combat too, which I think is cheating, because I think it also carries over when you do the barehanded fights and everything.
It does.
Well, also they added that your health doesn't come back either, and your armor's tied to that health too. So if your armor breaks or a piece of it breaks, you lose a health bar permanently until you fix it.
It's such a good system. And another thing I noticed too with this one, throwing knives are nowhere near as deadly as they are in 1. I would hit someone with a throwing knife and they just look at me instead of dying.
Yeah, they took 2 sometimes. So it's like, what? Why? What?
I understood the point of it, because in 1 you could be like, oh, I gotta be sneaky. All right, I'll just throw a knife everybody. They'll all just die. And in this game, it's like, no, you're not doing that.
Well, there's 2 reasons for that. One is because some of these guys are actually wearing armor in the future, different time zone, time area.
Mm-hmm.
Eras.
The other difference is why would you use a knives when you get a whole ass gun?
See, I couldn't
you can
remember.
Can you do it in the first game? Can you multi-fling like knives? If you like hold it, you'll shoot like 5? No?
I
They
don't
did that
think-
in 2, or maybe it is Brotherhood. Yeah. That felt pretty good.
I legit forgot the fucking guns in this game. I thought we didn't get the game till the second game.
I remember watching that E3 trailer, like when the pre-rendered one where he shoots the guy at the end. I'm like, oh.
I thought the gun was Brotherhood too. I couldn't remember, and I didn't want to ask Richard in case I was wrong. I didn't want to, so I was like, I'm just not gonna. Like with Richard, since you're experiencing it the first time, I don't want to spoil really nothing for you. Like I'm trying to be like.
I know.
It's real good to use that too.
The series for the first time.
It did make it feel kind of broken sometimes, because obviously you could use it and literally shoot and run. But it felt so good because they made it so loud and just like your whole hand gets jolted back. Like you knew, like once this goes off, it's going down. I gotta go.
Yeah,
I almost never used it except when the game made me.
Pretty much the same here, and that's part. I've one of the series of books I like is the Discworld series. I mean, you have the Assassin's Guild, and they like to think of it as a personal matter. It's a personal exchange. So,
especially in this game,
to use a gun just takes away that personal aspect of it.
Well, I mean, to quote Sniper Wolf, it's like sending a love letter, but the letter's a bullet straight to their heart.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that too. I love that series so much.
But also, the gun's not entirely like the answer to everything, because it does take the hottest of minutes to warm that thing up and aim it correctly.
That's true.
Which
they
makes
had to balance
perfect
it.
sense.
But again, it felt so good to reload it too and just be like, I'm out.
Did anybody use poison?
Yep.
Twice. Exactly twice.
Poison was fun.
It was funny.
It's pretty funny.
You felt bad for doing it. I literally felt too bad.
I looked at it as I was using like the fear arrows in Tomb Raider, because or one of those.
Who used money? Who used the money escape to get out of situations is what I want to know.
I use that sometimes too. I mean, I use the money I need to get at this guy. I've got too many people and guards and money. Everybody run for the money. Okay, boom, you're dead. Bye.
I never did the money. I never did poison. I did the smoke bomb like once or twice in this game.
I use money to get the fucking loot players away from me, because God, those guys are fucking annoying.
I killed one. That was a mistake. They got very mad at me.
I used the money sometime. At first, I tried that with the guards at the bank or around the people, but it didn't last long enough. I mean, I'd be inside the bank getting what I need. Money, codex page. Go to head out, and they're all back there again.
And then there's a new mechanic introduced in this game, which I think is probably the best mechanic you can introduce. You can now hire people to hide you and cause distractions.
Yes.
And my favorite one is the hookers, because they just stand there and shake their breast at the guys, and they're like, "Oh yeah, can't get a piece of that because I'm on the job," and you just sneak behind them and grab the codex page.
You ever get really annoyed though that sometimes they would just attract, like two of them would just break off because they got attracted by a guard, and so then you're like left with two, and you're like, ah.
Two still hide you though.
I needed you. I mean, it works. Like, I'm not mad, but like, I'm like, come on.
They were good for distracting people so you could get in someplace. Also hiring some of the local thieves to cause a little distraction there.
I think it was just kind of weird. I think it was a kind of a half-baked mechanic, because they all basically just did the same thing. It's just, how do you feel like just distracting them? Would you want them to be distracted by running away to chase thieves? Do you just want them to sit in place and be distracted? Or do you want them to be distracted because they're fighting? But it's all the same. They're just distracted.
It comes down to what you want done. I mean, with the one where I had to get rid of the assassination missions, where I have to get rid of 5 people. Oh, but you can't be spotted doing it. Right.
But they were always, like, the way that they did that was always by, like, let's just wall them off in an area and then, like, have, like, 4 guards at every entrance. So it's just, and then there would just be, pick your guild that you want to do the job. And then that was kind of it. And then you just get in there and do the job.
Well, the hardest one for me in that one was this one guy. He just keeps walking back and forth. I'm like, how am I going to get him? And then I just dawned on it. And then it sort of hit me. I mean, the ones that are on the rooftops, I just have to be sneaky, get into a hiding spot, do the ambush assassin that way. Oh, this guy's on the roof. Yoink! Splat! Works for me. Okay, this guy's walking this path, and oh, look, here's a haystack. Yoink! Voom! But then that last one, I just like, hey, you guys, fight him. Okay.
I gave up on the perch kills and stuff when I got to throwing knives. I was generally good at killing him with one of them, so I just kind of was like, oh, this dude's on a roof, right? Dead.
Did they ever explain that? Or did they have haystack kills in the first game?
Yeah, they did.
Did they?
Yeah, they had haystack. I'm pretty sure. Or
I'm pretty sure it was second game is when you could finally hide, because I remember they showed off the in the first gameplay for E3, they showed off like killing someone from a bench and then sitting them on the bench. I'm like, that's cool.
That didn't happen though. Or that in this game?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the game, like I said, they showed that was like a thing. They're like, yeah, we improved the stealth mechanics a little bit by like giving you options like while you're hiding, and that was one of them. I'm like, oh, that's when I like again. The signs were there that this game was something special before it even came out.
Okay, I'll have to remember that for when I play through it again on my channel. I'm still working through I'm still working through Assassin's Creed 1 on the channel.
No,
Yeah, 'cause
it's
I remember all the gameplay takes place like in Venice because they had to show off all the mechanics, like not being able to die as soon as your pinky toe touched water, which would make
Oh,
sense
yeah.
Oh,
in
thank
the land of
God.
water, you know. So like most of the gameplay they showed off was all Venice because that was like the highlight area.
Oh, that was
Well-
so nice. And being able to swim in an area. And yeah, because you could swim, you could also loot the little crafts that are all over the place.
All the gondolas. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun. It does a good job of letting you get like. It wasn't that long before I was like I had my whole house maxed out and I didn't have to like all that. The upgrading the town is wonderful, by the way. Like that's
Oh yeah,
great.
I love that economy
feature.
system. It was good.
That was a blessing. It's a reward for being a collector.
Oh, yeah.
Tangible.
Everything you collect increases the value of the house. Every painting you buy, you get a bonus for finding all the treasures. Every feather you grab gives you 10 florins of value to the house.
And they were actually generous about the real time it took to like put it in your chest. It wasn't like 3 hours. It was like every 10 minutes, like a normal thing, like a not mobile game. You know, rest in peace, proper time respecting mechanics.
No, I think it was like 20 minutes. Although when I opened it up
I'll take it.
now,
It wasn't an hour, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, like I mean, because this wasn't like, oh, hey, you can spend an extra $10 to get it done a little bit faster. Like it's not that time.
I think like to fully max it out, you'd have to be playing. It would be a total game time of an hour 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like it wasn't like, oh no, we don't give you anything in that hour. You know, like this game was like, oh yeah, it accumulates by X amount per minute until it's full, and then you have to go get it. But at that point, like once you're
It notifies you, I think, every quarter.
right? And the good thing about it though too is like once you max it out, like even the first deposit is like amazing. You know,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like enough to get anything you need done.
I think by the time I finished it, I had like over 800,000 florins carrying money.
And that's when I started flinging my money around using that mechanic.
But this is something I noticed now because I opened it up for a refresher and I was actually looking at the database a little bit. That's another nice thing they added.
Oh yes, Codex.
Because not only it gives you some actual facts about the people as well as the altered timeline facts for the game and locations. That was a nice way of knowing there's something at a location when you see it pop up on your screen database and hello, there's this little symbol here. There must be a sigil on this building, or there's a tomb in this building.
But they wouldn't let you mark the building. You know, they just had to give it still a little bit of a puzzle for you to be like, you got to figure out where it is in the neighborhood.
Well,
that was a bit.
Well, that was when you had to use your eagle vision.
Yeah, but I mean, like the
Sometimes
building
you
itself.
record
Sometimes
stuff.
I'm like, this looks like a church in the middle of a bunch of churches. You know, I don't know which building I'm supposed to be eagle visioning, but yeah.
Yeah, but I was like,
Baby
when you
steps,
finally
baby steps.
find, like, oh, and then it's another puzzle. It's a thinker puzzle. I admit I had to look up some of those.
Yep. When I was doing the truth for the first time, I was like, yeah, no way, I'm not playing this game with them.
I think the only thing I could say bad about the whole truth thing, I liked that you had to figure things out. And maybe it was because of how difficult some of those other puzzles were that once you found every one of the sigils, it automatically put it in order. I think a little part of me is like, okay, I'm watching this, so this is here. This should go behind that and before that. I would have loved to actually had to try and put them in order myself. But that's me. I like that kind of puzzle.
At least the puzzles themselves weren't as difficult. I feel like in Brotherhood, though, they got unfairly weird and cryptic.
Can't remember them because I never do them.
You just
Now
look it
I'll
up
have
or-
to go into it. Now I can't wait to start Brotherhood.
Brotherhood's probably like my peak. Like this is what a sequel of a game should be.
I would still say it's not as big of a jump as it was when the 2 was, but in terms of like even more refinement, absolutely yes. It's pretty much the peak.
Mm-hmm.
From what I vaguely remember, yes.
I will say though that Ezio's like normal design from 2, I like it the most. I still like it more than his Grandmaster Master Assassin look.
On Revelations.
Yeah. Well,
I don't like
even
Revelations.
in Brotherhood, I still like. I think 2 is like he had a better outfit. It's more iconic to me.
I think it's the black with the beard what does it for me at the end of this game, where he's like 30-ish and he just has like full on beard and just a hunk of man meat.
He is one Italian stallion, that is for sure.
And
And
And to go back about like the tombs, I love the tombs in this. I love that feature. I would talk a little bit like and how much more complicated they get as the game progresses. Like they get very, very complicated,
and not too unfair either.
No. I had to look up a little bit because I was just being stumped on something that wasn't hard.
They're very intuitive when you go through them.
Yeah, because they do a nice little pan as soon as you're in there, so that's like showing you that like this is the route. But doing it itself is still just difficult enough because of the game itself. And we'll say that the mobility still isn't perfect in terms of like, knowing what ledge you're going for and stuff like that. But it does pretty well.
I think it's only in one tomb that you get introduced to one mechanic that when I first was playing through it, until I really got to see how it was to be performed in that tomb, I had gotten every feather except one that was in Florence. And it's because it used that jump up and run to the side on the wall mechanic.
Mm-hmm. So you have to do a run and then like quickly move right or left, whichever way you're trying to go, and then whatever the jump button is. Yeah.
I could not get that one, and I'm like, I am probably going to have this one be my not be able to get. And then when I see how to do it in the one tomb with those damn timers, I do not necessarily like the timers because
they're annoying.
They're annoying. And in certain ones, it just like, so I've got to reset this timer every time I make an advancement, and if I make a goof, I'm like, fuck.
Speaking of timers, the timers when you're tailing somebody and they consider just breaking line of sight to start the timer annoyed me so much. And they kept that too. That they kept that I think throughout all the Ezio Assassins games.
Yeah, they do.
I'm like, come on, I know he's not a baby, okay? We played as him as a baby. He's not a baby anymore. He has object permanence. He can absolutely guess the trajectory of somebody and go there without a timer of only 25 seconds. Weird.
It's just a video game being a video game.
Yeah.
Well, it does make sense that if you lose track of them, you do need to quickly reestablish that line of sight. Because let's face it, if you're following somebody, obviously you don't want them to know you're following them, but if you're following somebody and you lose sight of them, you go into a bit of a panic. And that's not the only game I've seen it in. I've seen that in other games as well that aren't even, quote, open world. I saw the line of sight, the, quote, breaking of the line of sight, a timer popping up in Sherlock Holmes' The Devil's Daughter, which I'm playing through right now. That happens in there, too. You have to trail someone, but if you lose sight of them, you need to either quickly reestablish that sight, or you're definitely going to lose them. Point
taken. Counterpoint, Jacopo was 80. I don't think he was going to go anywhere in that 25 seconds that I couldn't follow.
That is a fair point.
Some of these dudes you chase are portly dudes, old dudes.
Yeah, they ain't moving that fast.
And they literally aren't moving that fast. It's one of those things, too, where like they walk faster than your walk animation, but slower than your run animation.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's a fair point, too.
There's also an invisible timer moment that I like that's in the beginning of the game where I think it's your first crypt that you're doing to get the first piece for the armor, and there's a guy you have to chase and assassinate.
Yeah,
and
that's the first one.
My moment lined up just perfectly where like I'm like going up the stairs and the guy's like yelling like, guys, the assassin's here, oh my god, but they didn't hear him, and I got him like that last second before he was able to warn everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then things didn't go very well for him.
Yeah, and then I was like, am I supposed to go in there and fight all those guys? It's like, no, I can just keep going, just go up the ladder.
Anytime I don't fight guys in this game, I was disappointed. I'm like, come on. Come on, you didn't do all this combat just for me to be stealthy, did you?
Nah, the guys that really get me
is to like kill 50 dudes. Come on.
One of the ones that really get me are the beginning of the game is those guys that are fully armored. Those guys almost killed me like bad at one point.
Yeah, they're scary at first for those because they're like double axe wielding, fully armored dudes who kill you in one hit, and they have unblockable attacks. So you have to like know how to dodge. Yeah, they were tough. Fun though once you can counter.
Countering can be fun. Countering can be a pain in the ass. I enjoyed some of the I did enjoy a good deal of the fighting in the game, but when you start learning properly using some of the other mechanics in the game, it's like, why fight if I don't have to in this situation? I mean, you fight the guards at a bank, Then you have to get your notoriety cleared out or get anonymous again just so you can enter it. It's like once you start fighting, it's like, boom, you can't enter the place.
Yeah, then you have to find your wanted posters, and that wasn't really fun, I would say, as a mechanic, yeah.
Wanted posters, they're fine if you don't have, eliminating them is fine if you don't have money to bribe somebody. Once you have the money to bribe somebody, it's like, here, shut up about this. Okay.
Or you could kill one witness.
Yeah, I like killing the witnesses when you got high enough. That was a good way to get it down.
Like 75%.
But also, it's so funny that like you could do it in the middle of everybody, and then no one's like. It'd be funnier if it was like you have to like kill them where there's no one. Otherwise, someone else becomes a witness to the witness.
You start killing everybody.
I think in the later games they do that because I think if you kill someone and someone sees it, it's like 25%. So if you kill a witness, it'll lower 75. But if someone sees you do it, you'll still have that last 25% still there.
That's
nice.
Cool.
Okay.
Keep note of that.
I look forward to getting to Brotherhood because I have no memory of Brotherhood really, other than I love it.
Do we want to go through the goofy story real quick?
Sure, please. We should. Of this one.
So you see yourself being born.
Which is cool.
But you also have the whole entrance of, is it blood that's written on the walls? They just clean it up and you can see it with your eagle vision.
Yeah, it's Subject 16, the guy that before you died, wrote on the wall in blood, in his blood.
Yeah, and I like, we were talking about it earlier, but I like the moment of, what the fuck is his name? Desmond walking out, and there's other cubicles that have tons of like animuses in it, and you're just the only one who's special who gets your own big room for some reason.
Well, you're also a prisoner.
Yeah.
I'm assuming other people, as we see later on in the series, actually are working, for the Templars.
I think 4 gives you the most insight onto that stuff.
Yeah.
Like what they're doing.
And you end up getting Desmond out, and Lucy shows that she's fully capable of whooping 5 guys' asses at once. And then you're introduced to the loser brigade of assassins, which is you have the British guy and the Asian girl. Yeah, Sean Hastings and Rebecca. Sean's such an asshole.
Yes, he is.
He's such a huge bastard in like the beginning of 2. And you're introduced to an Animus 2.0, which is established throughout this game. I think it's supposed to actually teach Desmond how to be an assassin without training him physically.
Yeah, that's what they're up to. I mean, because they're trying to get him ready for this eventual war or something like that.
And you know it's 2.0 because it's Gamer Red or Racer Red.
Yeah, and it's smaller too.
Yeah.
It's thinner.
Yeah.
And you can be in like the proper position, not just flat on a like no pillowed surface.
I bet at some point, I'm surprised they don't have a throwaway line where Desmond's like, I have huge back problems from sitting on this thing for like 48 hours straight.
Oh, he should have said it when Ezio was complaining about his back when he was climbing. Like, you sit in this chair for 20 hours.
So you're introduced to Ezio Auditore de Firenze. I completely butchered that. Who is our main character? And you see him being born. You throw a little baby fisticuffs, and I think Mike, you have a joke for the title cards, don't you?
For what?
For like whenever a title card, the name of the game shows up in the game.
Well, I just make comments about it, especially for movies.
Press Y to win.
That's why to win.
It's mine.
I love the Assassin's Creed 2 logo popping up in this game because it's a really like beautiful moment because you dick around as Ezio and you meet his family and the brother challenge you to a race up a bell tower and you both eagle dive off of it, don't you?
Yes. And so far, yeah, they set up all that time so that you know that Ezio is A, feisty, B, very rich, and C, is a family man's.
Yeah, and then all that gets taken away, which is part of the reason why I love the story. It's very much a coming of age for a young man becoming and doing what he has to do. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people fall in love with this game, because 1 isn't very story heavy at all. It's mostly focused on gameplay, and I'm glad that they decided to go the alternate route where a lot of the games are just really, really more heavily story based as opposed to, just being gameplay.
Oh yeah, they also established he's a heck of a womanizer. He's a ladies' man. He's a man's man.
Yes, they do. So are most of the male characters in this. Like, they're all just whores.
Yeah, I had to admit, I got a good laugh when his mother chastised him.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, making sure his mind is somewhere else other than vaginas.
That was funny.
Although I want to say this, though, Joe, when you were going through his whole name there, that's an old, that was an old custom, I think, that was bat down in down in Italy. I don't know if it was in other parts of the world, but Ezio Auditore da Firenze is basically Ezio Auditore from Florence.
Right, Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo
from Vinci.
Yeah, because Leonardo never had a family name. I believe he was like a love child or a bastard child.
Well, I mean, like other artists, he could have, Michelangelo doesn't even get a city.
Well, he got one name recognition. That was
El Greco just got his
Ninja Turtle.
He didn't even get a name. He just got El Location. So he's just a Greek dude. Name is El Greco.
Yeah.
I do love how much of a bro Leonardo is in this game. It's a great bromance throughout the series.
It is. Really is. I love their relationship in this.
Truly, he was best girl for the series, yes.
And how much he plays a part in the story. Like, you see him in the intro, and then, like, just everything that they do, it really affects where things are going here. And I love that.
I think it's funnier when you kill a man, and he's like, "Oh, just throw it with the other bodies," and Ezio's like, "Other bodies." Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they donated it to me,
Yeah, the city's given to me. It's whatever. We're Renaissance. It's whatever.
No, that's such a good scene, though, too. Yeah. He's like, "Why'd you kill other people?" I'm like, what the fuck?
But Ezio's family's betrayed, and you go through all that ordeal, and they hang only the men, which I think is a thing that they did back then.
Yeah, and they rape the woman, so, I mean, there's that, too.
Yeah, and your mother goes comatose?
Mute.
She's from shock. She's shocked.
Basically catatonic, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, they killed two of her kids and her husband.
And one of them is a kid. Like, he's like...
Yeah, he's like 10.
Petruchio? Yeah, he's like, 8.
Yeah,
and they fucking just hang him.
He was a sickly child.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucked up.
They didn't take his feathers.
That's why you collect the feathers, and like I said, I can understand that one.
Yeah. Did you got all of them, right, Richard?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Mike, Alan, you know what happens when you get all of them?
You get a cape.
Well, besides that.
She gets not catatonic.
Yeah, she's not catatonic.
I don't know if there's like what the tangible.
She thanked you. No. She thanked you for being. I think she said it's about being a good son.
You're right. Makes sense. Yeah. Because in Brotherhood, just to spoil it, she's not like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madre. But what is it? You end up escaping town and getting out through the help of the weirdos that you're helping your dad deliver notes to, and
like random rabble rousers in the community, the local like peasantry thief. No courtesans, I don't think, but definitely thieves and like randos.
There's a courtesan.
Oh yeah, a courtesan. Okay.
Yeah, the guy, the thief guy that has a courtesan person with him. That's the guy that goes. You better run for it, boy, and you fucking haul ass.
Right. And you can tell like Ezio this whole time is kind of like, I don't know why. What? Weird that I'm associating with these people, and my father was.
He was clueless about it.
His father was a banker.
Right.
That was his public face.
And usually courtesans and thieves don't really mess with bankers unless it's at knife point.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're doing what they do for the city too, so.
It's also very movie-wise, like modern day of, do you know who your father was, boy? Oh, my father worked a simple desk job. Nah, he was the one, and now you're the one.
So now you and your eclectic group of, rabble rousers are gonna, rebel revenge.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, you leave town then, and...
Yeah, and then you meet the weirdest Easter egg in video game history.
I know what you're talking about.
It's a me, Mario.
It's a me, your Uncle Mario. It's like
it's so stupid.
I remember first playing that.
This is what set the seeds for Mario and Rabbids, by the way, you guys. Ubisoft was playing the long game.
That's so weird.
I need to play those games someday.
They're good, surprisingly.
And I really want to play them. I haven't gotten around to it.
You're introduced to your uncle's estate, and I think it's your whole family estate, technically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's your whole family. Yeah.
Yeah. From there, the story goes.
People do. They have a whole summer town, not just a summer home, a summer town.
Summer town. Well, yeah, you gotta have.
That was kind of like that age, though. I mean, you had people who were, that's how rich they were, and that's how things were.
And that's how they made a good portion of their money.
Yes.
Well, if I'm going to have a summer home, I might as well have a summer town. I mean, I'm not going to go 50 miles out to get to my wine and my hookers. So I might as well just have it in my own town.
Yeah, you just have the courtesan building right in town. You have a little fun. I mean, and then the story really just kind of goes as you follow from point to point as you're assassinating different people, trying to find out more about who killed your father, who was all involved, and it does a good job of that, of leading you on this whole journey.
Yeah, it does.
It kind of is an RPG. I mean,
Yeah.
you start off, small, beating up local thugs, to fisticuffs with the Pope.
And I like how it takes you 20-some years that you're hunting this one guy, the Spaniard, who killed your father, and you're just hunting that fucker forever. And I really like that.
It's not an RPG. It's a Metroidvania.
Hey, he's got a point on there.
It's true.
For some, it is Metroidvania-ish.
You literally needed someone to teach you how to reach your hand out to grab ledges, weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a trick when I got to Venice.
And
He's not wrong.
Nobody had to teach you how to swim, but boy, grabbing
I don't know how to
things with your hand, that's apparently wasn't on the list.
I also forgot that the flying machine part, I completely forgot that was in this game too.
I thought that was Brotherhood also.
Yeah.
They showed that off in all the that demo thing. That was awesome.
I have to say this. That was slightly frustrating.
Yeah, the
Fair.
controls for that and the gondola were not very intuitive at all.
The gondola controls are pretty bad.
Well, the gondola's easier to work with than that flying machine.
You'd be surprised how for like having a whole rudder, all you can kind of really do is go forward, and then turning is apparently like a 20-year process.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, you're flying along and I'm losing. There's a fire.
Yeah, finding the fires. Yes, it was a neat mechanic for sure, like on paper, but you fall way too fast, I think.
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
And again, turning takes a millennia. He grew that whole beard just turning.
I hate it. I did not like using when you had to fly. It took me a bit. I died a bunch of times before I got that part to work. And
Yeah.
Spoiler
if
alert, it returns in Brotherhood, so be prepared for that.
that's what I thought, because I do remember a woman in a red dress and flying to get to her with a thing, and I'm like, that can't be this game, and it wasn't. But it's just you'll see what we mean, Richard. How much Brotherhood in this game will just kind of feel like the same thing almost.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
And hopefully that would mean they only really have one or two mandatory flying sections. I mean, I stumbled across another one.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't overstay its welcome for sure. What little it has.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the story just keeps going of you assassinating different people, following the story to eventually get to the Spaniard. You meet other assassins who then train you abilities, who then you find out are all part of this assassin group, and that's the main gist of the story.
Yeah, that reveal at the end of all that is very, very nicely done.
Well, then we have to talk about the actual ending after the fisticuffs with the Pope, huh?
But before we get that, I do want to talk about the fisticuffs with the Pope, because it brings up something that will be throughout the series. But I did my probably moment that also gave me like a weird, like, I thought this was earlier in the game, is the moment with Ezio becoming a full assassin and then burning his finger, and then they force you to do a time skip, which I think is pretty funny.
I am with you. I also thought it was earlier than it is.
I thought that was a title card moment where they make him an assassin and then he jumps off.
No, it's like way later. You actually fight the Pope before he's the Pope, and then you have that whole scene where you basically essentially follow your father's footsteps completely, and then during that time skip, he becomes the Pope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're during this Pope fight, it's established that there are more pieces of Eden and that the apples are dog shit antiques that people just find for some reason.
Like they mass produce those suckers.
Yeah, that's why
they're just using them to control people.
But this one does come with the stick, though. This is a special one. It has a stick to hold it.
Well,
yeah, you need both parts to open that secret area.
And the only way you hold that stick is if you become the Pope. Lots of implications there.
Yeah.
Like, why does the Pope have this stick?
But you find out the apples are mass produced and that they're basically like the basic bitch of pieces of Eden, as they're basically called throughout the series. But you kind of get hints as to what other pieces are throughout history if you really, really think about it. I think given one example, like Thor's hammer is one, and so is Excalibur.
Oh, that's
It
cool.
would make sense.
Basically, anything mythology related is basically a precursor item, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love how this game introduces that, really, so early in the series. Like, I mean, you have the Apple Eden in the first game, but you don't really know a whole lot about it. And here you find out there are more and what's going on.
And they're very powerful.
During the first game, when they put up that first disclaimer that this game was made by a multicultural team made up of various religions, cultures, and creeds, in the first game, I'm like, oh, it's neat, cool. it was doing the ending of this game and finding out like, oh, they're really just making a farce out of the entire Christian religion. I was like, I see why they put that disclaimer in. They really did not want to make people angry. Having the Pope himself describe his religion that he's the leader of as a big lie was like bold.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is a fair statement.
Although, and the fact that that particular Pope is of the Borgia family, yeah, I could see it actually saying that.
True, we could, I think, but I feel like the general population or general audiences of this game would have been like they have no idea.
I don't know. There's a really good moment which proves this game has aged well and hasn't at the same time. Where I think it's where the Pope Borgia gets away and Ezio's like yelling at the crowd about like don't listen to religion if you're not, just because you blindly follow it and all this other stuff and everything. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, someone should really do this in this day of 2023. It could really be needed.
And again, no one chased him either. No one. He said all that in the Pope's house of Vatican City. No one chased him out with pitchforks and torches.
Yeah, well, I think we've gotten to a point that we can expect. I think we've gotten to the point that the Vatican hides its own set of secrets, and we don't really take everything they say at face value anymore.
Oh, you brought up something that off topic, but on topic at the same time. There's actually a girl that went missing in the Vatican in like the early 2000s. There's a documentary on Netflix. It's called like Lost Girl or something. Lost Girl Vatican. And like as the mystery goes on, it's pretty much like they didn't figure out for sure, but they were pretty damn sure the Vatican themselves, like what they think happened is one of the priests was getting a little too touchy with this girl and then decided to, we'll make her disappear instead.
Well, maybe she's Juno, just hiding in the basement of the Vatican with a pre-recorded message for someone else in the future named Desmond.
That part is so creepy.
It's terrifying.
Desmond? Who is Desmond?
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Desmond. Like, what?
Who is Desmond? I love the way he says it.
That is a little bit.
That blew my mind. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And it ends with what everybody simultaneously said at the same time. What the fuck? Because even Desmond goes, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is the right thing to say in that situation.
And that's when you find out about 2012 being, the end of days and all that fun stuff that, divides like what all the content pre-2012, when they could use that as a potential plot point to now afterwards where it's like, nope.
I mean, technically it happened. I mean, 2012 didn't happen. So yeah, maybe Desmond did save us.
Right, IRL. My goodness.
You could look at it that way.
But I mean, like no other franchise, right, can do that, right? Like, any new IP isn't used in 2012.
How much I was praying before that was basically a load of hokum.
Oh, they say the world's going to end every like 3 years. It's whatever.
My dad keeps telling me the world's going to end in 2030. I'm like, okay.
I mean, when you talk about like a specific date,
I mean, it wasn't totally
part
off.
Of me that would worry about that, and then of course once I became a father, and I hope that's not true. Otherwise, somebody's 6th birthday is really gonna suck.
Right. And they did, in Assassin's Creed, it's what, the sun, a sunspot, a giant solar flare, something to do with the sun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been a while.
Whereas for us, it's climate change potentially. Yeah. It has to do with the sun. The sun is kind of a big part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we already see we can get an idea what this world will become after something like that happening. Just read the Maze Runner series
or Maximum Overdrive.
I love Maximum Overdrive. Thank you for bringing that up, Alan. No one ever brings those books up. I appreciate that.
Oh, and the movie, the short movie, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the movie with the cars, right?
Because that's technically the sun's fault, right? That's the sun causing like radio interference, and then cars.
I thought it was just
sentient cars.
That was just climate change.
Could be.
I'm looking up Maximum Overdrive.
If I remember correctly, it's a truck with a green face in the front.
The Green Goblin, yeah.
Yeah. They paid so much money for that fucking Green Goblin.
I had to ask. I was like, that is literally a Spider-Man thing, right? How did they do that?
Yeah, they needed something modern, and Stephen King was like, I will give you so much money to let us do that. And Marvel's like, okay.
And while we're also spending money, let's get AC/DC to like play a song, to get the rights to that to play the beginning. It's Black Sabbath. I can't remember what song it is.
I haven't seen this. I haven't seen the movie in a while, but it's a good fucking movie. I remember.
It's good cheese. It's good cheese.
Yeah. Stephen King makes good cheese movies.
According to what the movie, I'm just looking that movie up, it was a UFO that caused it.
Yes, a UFO. It's not
That
like
was
it's not like at the time of this recording they haven't confirmed aliens or not.
Oh yeah, they just did, didn't they?
Yeah, no one gave a shit.
Well, I mean, I could have told. I mean, I've been saying there's aliens around for a while, just because there's too much shit that. Yeah.
I definitely subscribe to the theory where, like, both possibilities are equally scary. Sure.
Yeah,
Either
both
we're super alone,
possibilities.
scary, or we're not alone, kind of scary,
Both possibilities are equally scary. I think Arthur C. Clarke said that.
Yeah.
And I still like to believe that there's intelligent life in space. It's the life that's not visiting us.
There's no way there's not intelligent life out there. No
I
way.
mean, let's face it. Look at all the stuff that we've had in our media with the animation, with the anime and the hentai and the Galaxy of Terror. You know
That's why
that
we
if
haven't been
that
invaded, because they
information
know that stuff is all a treasure trove. It's too much of a treasure trove for them. They're like, this is a gold mine of resources.
These humans are into the freaky shit.
And even the times we have interfered, it just gave them more ideas for the hentais. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
They probed them. Oh my god, how did they come up with this
stuff? Let's get rid of this place. Let's make sure, all the lowlife, they can go there. They're on their truck stop run. Oh, I need some fun. Oh, damn, I heard about this play. We're in the backwater section, the red light district of the universe.
Take a turn I did not expect.
What's even worse is aliens are never going to exist us because they see how we treat each other. You imagine aliens coming down? They're going to have the exact same situation where they're going to be calling Superman an illegal alien in the movies, which...
I mean, to tie it to that real life stuff, it's really hard to say because it's like, man, it's so amazing that this one country, ours, is the one that can, like, is just so good at covering up, so good.
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure.
And no other country, because the Earth is a big place, they've all been so good at equally covering it up, It just seems weird, Equally.
There's also a real life event where at some point, I forget, I don't remember the context of the story, but I heard it on my podcast, Geekbox. He was talking about, I think it was where there was some event where almost all the media kind of had the same message. Like everybody was reporting on it, kind of had the same thing. And no, it wasn't. It was No Match of Fantasy. And so there's certain things I think sometimes I would not be surprised that like people kind of like, yeah, we're going to keep this quiet. So, but yeah, no, I completely believe there's aliens to go along with that. But there's just no way there can't be. There's no way we're the only thing in this world. So, for this universe.
Hard pivot because we never talked about it. The music of this game.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, the music's really good.
Like we never ever tapped on how like they did a great job of like fusing the Renaissance strings and stuff like that to the like modern day like synth that they added in and the chorus. Like, oh man, when you're just running around the world, the ambient music is just so good, so well done.
It is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It does a really good job of keeping. I played this entire game with music on. Because I just enjoyed
never do anything like it again.
Yeah.
Not even in Brotherhood is it like this.
Well, this was a different time. I mean, this was such a big game that they were doing, and this is before they were like, like we said earlier, every year. Like, this was just something so different.
This was, we did some good things in the first one, and we did some bad things in the first one. So the second one is an apology for the bad things we did.
I mean, the first one it's of its time. It was a brand new series and a brand new game. Like, they were just learning, and people give it way too much shit that it doesn't deserve. Just because this game is so fucking good.
Yeah, I never really heard too much. Like, to me, all the negatives of this game mostly came out after the fact. Upon revisits. I feel like at the time, this game was universally critically acclaimed and loved by audiences. And again, I think I talk about this anytime I talk about sequels from this era. None of them missed, If this was an apology to one, what was two? I guess it was two. Maybe that's it, right? Every single one is just kind of an apology for the first one being okay, right?
Could be.
I mean, kind of.
I mean, I will say this.
Except for Left 4 Dead 2. Apparently Left 4 Dead 2 needed an apology for existing.
I mean, let's face it. I said before, first one makes me really appreciate the beauty of the Holy Lands. And while, yes, it is set back about close to 1,000 years in the past, it's beautiful. I just recently redid the whole rich district of Acre section, except for the assassination yet. I'll be doing that again in the near future. But I'm looking at that and I'm like, this is This is why I always heard my grandmother speak of how beautiful the Holy Land is and how she always wanted to go there. And I'm looking, you're standing or crouching, perched on top of the cross of the church and acre, and you are looking at this beautiful surrounding, and like, it makes sense. It makes sense. And you get those feelings too in definitely got it in this one when you got to those viewpoints that you could look around and observe Venice, observe Florence, observe Tuscany, all the areas. You just soaked in the beauty of it from such a high vantage point. I mean, you're not going to necessarily get that anymore today with all the pollution in the air, but it's the beauty. You got the visual beauty, good music in the background. You got the audio beauty. You've got great mechanics in the gameplay. That's another level of beauty to it. How smooth the story went. That's a beauty. This was a work of art.
Yeah, to piggyback off, these games are what made me jealous of sometimes what game devs get to do, which is do traveling, research, go to these places, study them, soak in the architecture, the atmosphere, all of that, because that will bring more soul into your game. But it also is I think a good lesson even for its players to go out, see the world. These games look great, but my God, if you're there, you're rewarded just in and of itself by being there, Italy's beautiful. All of its cities are beautiful. The Holy Land is beautiful. These are wonders of architecture from the generations. Seeing what people could do with the limited technology they had in 2000 BC 200 BC in the 1400s and so on and so forth. I would say up until probably Valhalla. I don't necessarily find the early huts to be pretty beautiful. They're just straw houses with stone. And most of it's Roman anyway, just taken over. So, cheating.
I do like Valhalla. I like it. I'm kind of
the forests are good. And
I'm kind of sick of listening. I'm kind of sick of. I'm all Norse mythology. I'm all Norse mythology out due to Valhalla and God of War. And also because of the fact that no one can enjoy Norse mythology anymore because white supremacists took it over. But I'm excited to see where the series goes, especially because one of the ones that's really surprised me is that they say they're making a game taking place during the witch trials. So I'm really excited to see where they're going to go with that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Hey, that's actually a city. Trials. If they do it in Boston, that's a city I'll actually be visiting. So
I already have some of the assets from Assassin's Creed 3, right? They can just use a lot of that.
Oh yeah, because you do. I think you do go to Boston in that game. In New York.
Yeah, but you're also talking Witch Trials is 1600s too.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 1600s? Or 18? It is 16, huh? Yeah. So it'd even be predating 3, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd still be cool. There's still a lot there. That'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'm just happy to be playing the series again.
See, I thought they were gonna go to northern England instead of southern England. Where Valhalla, they were gonna go northern England. That's where all the quote unquote pagan, barbarian, whatever stuff is.
I haven't bought or played Valhalla yet. I'm very interested in it, but because it's going to be years before if I continue with this cycle, it's going to be years before I get to it.
I skipped Odyssey and Origins and went to Valhalla for that game because I'd heard a lot that Origins was great, but Odyssey was a bloat, too much. So I was and I wasn't a fan. I didn't, out of protest, I didn't play them either at that time. But I think I'll go back and revisit them now. And I like Valhalla, but it's a time sink.
Odyssey. Yeah, that's another reason why I'm I don't like super large games. I put 30 hours into this game, and I didn't do everything. I did a majority of stuff. I mean, I would say about 4 or 5 hours that might have been idle time, while it was just on and paused while doing other things. But so but it's just one of those things where it's it wasn't too long. This game, didn't feel too much. I'm about to play Immortals: Phoenix Rising later next month, and I'm assuming that's going to be a fucking time sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. I've never played it myself.
It's Ubisoft's Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know it's going to be a fucking time thing, but I mean, at the same time, I'm it'll keep me busy for 2 weeks, I'm sure.
At least because it's Breath of the Wild, though, it might be a better breath of fresh air than Valhalla even would be.
Yeah, there's no breakable weapon, so it's fine.
I'll be okay then. I have not played Breath of the Wild very much, but I'm going to be remedying that also later this year, or early next year.
I got to get back to Breath of the Wild.
I got to get back to Tears of the Kingdom, actually. Same. I beat the game, but I haven't shored up on all the things.
me right now, my big time sink for like on the channel, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. I mean, I'm 32 and a quarter hours into that game, and I am not getting into the final case because I'm trying to do all those side cases. But I gotta say this: it's like late 19th century Cordova. It's beautiful. It's exploration, finding mysteries, solving mysteries, learning about Sherlock's past. It's a beautiful game to play. I'm enjoying it.
And that's from a relatively small developer and publisher, right? Focus? Not Focus. Frogware.
I know you guys want to talk about a time sink. I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 with my husband. That game has already been confirmed for 180 hours, like minimum.
Ooh. Holy
moly. With your beard being longer than Ezio's for sure by the time you're done.
That's too much.
I can't. There's too many games. There's too many games coming out this year that I don't even want to touch, like your Diablos and Baldur's Gate until like later, because like I want to try to get through the smaller experiences. You know, Alan Wake 2 might be, I would think, a smaller one. Mirage.
I forgot about Alan Wake 2. Goddamn.
We got Spider-Man 2. These are all games that will and Spider-Man 2 is, I think, going to probably fall in a lot of these, like in the category of these older sequels like Assassin's Creed 2, where it's going to take, I think, hopefully it takes a lot of the things that made the first one good, expand upon them and make them really good, really shine.
Yeah. Jumping on that weird bandwagon, that is essentially what the point of Origins and Odyssey is. Odyssey has a lot of, what is it called whenever they fix stuff for gamers? Something of life. Quality of life.
Quality of life.
Yeah. Odyssey has a lot of quality of life updates for Origins, because Origins is very much them trying something new, and they kind of missed the nail with the hammer on that one a couple of times. Word of warning for the future.
Where did you get this information that Baldur's Gate has over 100 hours on it?
They tell you. There's an interview because they had a whole
press junket thing.
Yeah, press conference. That's where the video comes from, where you can see one of the characters having sex with a bear.
Right.
Twice now this has came up in the podcast.
I mean, I just looked up Baldur's Gate on how long to beat, and it's like main story 23 hours, main and extra 34 hours, completionist 70 and a half hours.
Is that Baldur's Gate 1?
No, that's Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, that's because it's pre-release right now.
Pre-alpha, yeah. So you're talking about like the beta thing.
Yeah, that means the first act could be up to 70 hours. And there's 3 acts.
Oh boy,
that is Nutella nutty. My goodness,
that's too much.
Yeah,
I don't like my games to be that long.
Fun, I'm for it. Why not? Right? That just means that they love what they did. Is it a $60 game or $70?
I paid for the Ultimate Edition, so I bought the $70 one.
But that's the Ultimate. That's its highest tier. Is still only $10 more than the standard.
I think so. So I think the base game's like $50.
Take note, developers. I mean, I think they're actually. I heard a couple of rumors that like a couple of developers are mad at this game for something, but I don't know what. Kind of like how like people got mad. Like I think that some developers got mad at Elden Ring for like there being like no side quests and like the success that it got. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, you could be completely right on. So
yeah, could be.
I have no idea.
All I can be glad is that Mirage is coming out this year, which I'll probably end up getting as well, and I'm glad that they actually just saw something too. They confirmed like I think the base game's only going to be like 30 hours, but if you're going to do what Mr. Richard does, which is collect everything, it is going to be a good 100-hour gameplay thingamajig.
I think that's fine. I mean, if you want to put, like we were talking about earlier, where the map is crowded, but Ubisoft just learns way more with that. Like if it's, if you're the type of gamer that wants to go for all the feathers, like I went for all the viewpoints, I was good with that. But like, there's nothing wrong with having that content as long as you're not forced to do it. Like the only thing in this game we're getting kind of near the end, I have a couple things I want to mention. Like with Sequence 14, like one of my complaints with it is you have to assassinate like 9 people, and it just feels like it was padding to make this game longer, but it wasn't. Like to Richard's comment and Alan's comment, it wasn't bad. It was there. It's cool. You got more game. For me, it was irritating me, but that's also because every game I play for the show and in period, I always get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to be done. Like especially open worlds, I do all these side stuff that I can do as soon as it opens up, because I know there's always a point in every game I play where I just break down and go, nope, I am done. We're going to mainline the game. And I was at that point because I wanted to finish it, because I wanted to play, Castlevania. And I was just done, and it was taking me a while. Plus some of those assassinations were tough. So that was that too.
The
one of the worst parts.
Toughest one of those for me was the guy on the boat.
I got lucky with him. I got on my first try. I got
I
really
know what
lucky.
you're talking about. Yeah. Because that's a get caught once and you fail mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I got caught, but I got caught as my blade was being put through his neck, so it didn't go.
See,
so it worked.
I ended up looking up what was the best approach.
Gun.
And I found that, and I worked to get to that point. And once I then saw, because I was trying to do it on my own, I figure out, okay, I'll do it this way, then this way, and then I get to this point, and then, oh, crap, I fucked up. And then when I looked up, like, oh, I should use the smoke bomb. Makes sense. Then I was able to pull it off. But, of course, it's just getting to the point where you could just jump him from above to get him.
Was this the first game that introduced synchronicity, where you had to if you wanted 100% of the game, you'd have to do it?
No,
you have to do it the right way.
That's not in this game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, I'm like,
thankfully.
I honestly, it's the worst thing. Oh, great, a game that's had 2 successful times of basically letting the player do these their own way is now going to be nah.
Oh yeah,
now you gotta do it my way.
Once they start that, they don't stop that, from what I remember.
Nope. And yep, it only gets worse and weirder.
Have fun with that, Rich, because I know you'll be going for it. So
when it comes to being a completionist, I judge it by
if you want to do it or not.
How difficult it's going to be.
Yeah, it will start getting more difficult when they add the different ways you have to do a mission. You'll see when we get to Brotherhood and Revelations, and because Brotherhood will be the end of this year. We're going to do Brotherhood.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably November, starting it within the next next week or so.
I would say, I think, Brotherhood has, I'm just going to spoil a little bit of it, some of the mechanics of it, involves a tank. And the completion for that mission to be 100% synced is to take no damage.
Oh, that's bullshit. It's a tank.
Have fun.
Yep.
Have fun. Have fun. Not a single hit. None. Have fun.
That's what save states are for.
I rage quit. Can you save state Assassin's Creed?
Not if you're playing it legit, no. But if you emulate 360, yes. But I mean, PCs can emulate 360. I don't know if mine can. I think mine could do it, but I haven't fucked around with emulation for 360 and PS3 yet. I'm just not. I tried emulating a few PS3 things, and I got Infamous 2 to run, for example, but it was so choppy.
I mean, I can understand 3 because it doesn't have any legit good support from official ways, but for a 360, pick up an S. It's fine.
Yeah, no, that's why I haven't done it yet. I just have collected, let's say, some of the rarer games that I can't get any other way just to have when I get to that point. So
yeah, I mean, I am trying to do holy shit. I just looked up Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Main story, 15 hours. Main and extra, 25 and a half hours. Completionist, 41 and a half hours.
That's not so bad. Just, a work week.
Brotherhood, in my opinion, is one of the best Assassin's Creed games.
You're going to spend probably 20 of those 40s on the tank mission anyway, so.
Yeah, he won't be completing that when I do. Well, we'll see. I mean, he might surprise me.
I just want live tweets of it, of him attempting it or something,
Attempt 1.
I gave up.
I just want to watch the chat just descend into madness.
Attempt 21. This is bullshit. Attempt 53. What the fuck? I tried it before, too, because I was an achievement whore at one time, so I remember fucking around a lot. I think I might even played this game twice back in the day because my Xbox my profile got corrupted, and I didn't think I'd be able to get it back, so I made a new profile, and then I was replaying games to get achievements again because I was an achievement whore. That will never happen again. But so yeah, I don't even know how many times I played this game. Or anything that we missed that we should. Oh, there's one last thing I want to go out on before we go to questions. There's a movie for this game too that came out. There's a movie, Assassin's Creed Liberation, which is on YouTube, by the way. I didn't watch it.
Assassin's Creed Embers? Is it Embers? Is that what it is?
I know there's Liberation. Is there?
There's movies that came with the Ezio collection that you can watch, and I'm pretty sure that's what you're referring to.
Lineage, I think is what.
Lineage. Yeah, Lineage and Embers are 2. I think they come with the Ezio collection, but I never watched them. I could right now, though.
Do you want to?
It's like 30 minutes.
Series of 3 Canadian short films.
Oh, I mean, I know that I was watching one of them while we were talking. Well, not really watching. I had it on and I was just looking at it, and it has all to do with his father.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but that was part of the story out there at one time.
Oh, there's one weird story point that doesn't make sense in this game. We can talk about that bunch real quick. It's the part where Desmond is dreaming and he sees
Ezio, or sorry, Altair.
He sees
Altair. Yep.
Yeah, and he sees him impregnate a woman. That woman is from a PSP game.
She's
And
also in Assassin's Creed 1 for one moment, but yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, but that comes up double force throughout this Ezio trilogy because it's explained why it's going on. But even weirder, Ubisoft confirmed that Ezio and Altair aren't related. So, yeah.
How does that work then?
You have a mom's side and a dad's side of your family. Basically, yeah,
Okay.
Altair would if it just make it easier, Altair would technically be from his dad's side, while
I mean, that does still technically make them related, just so distant. You know.
yeah, they're very
distantly
distant.
related.
Yeah, they're very distantly related, and that they explain that, and that's how they're able to hop around the timeline like that.
So
because-
much and so vastly, basically, which makes sense.
Yeah, especially because not really a spoiler, but they established that assassins do marry each other. So of course, one uncle could be in Egypt, and the other one could be in Africa. So
Okay.
it makes
I mean, those communes have to work somehow, right?
yeah.
Yes. I never watched the movies. I just thought it was cool they made them, as promotion pieces essentially for this game.
They pulled out all the stops for it for sure.
Yeah, they went big on Assassin's Creed 2. I mean, they must put a lot of money, I bet, into this game.
They put a lot of work into this game, and let's face it, they've earned. I mean, they did offer their information for the rebuilding of Notre Dame, so they've really put a lot of work into this. Oh,
That was Unity, right?
Yes.
Notre Dame, France. I'm excited to play Unity when we finally get there in like 2 years.
Well, it's not launch version anymore, so you're guaranteed to have a better time than the players of 2014 did, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, I heard the game is like just fine now. Like yeah, I don't play games when they first come out. Just wait. I mean, at least I do because I'm a cheap bastard. So plus you can never buy Ubisoft games when they come out.
Do you own the cheap bastards like Twitter that posts?
No. I
gamers,
cheap ass gamer. No, I do not.
That'd have been
I know. I used to follow that page all the fucking time on the website back in the day. That's where I got a lot of my good deals at. That's why I have a massive 360 collection because of that site.
Well, yeah, don't stop. It ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Deals are always forever.
Yeah, but now I'm just a Steam guy for the most part.
Oh, I guess you wouldn't have to with that.
Yeah, I'm just a Steam Humble Bundle fanatical. So I just kind of go on those websites and just look and see what they have, and I buy random shit that I'll never play for cheap.
I have news for you, Mike. I'll tell you off stream. Anyways.
Okay. All right. Any last things you guys want to say before we go on to questions, comments, or memories?
No.
Okay. I didn't get a lot actually. I posted in a few different groups. I mean, because lately I've been getting a lot of questions and comments and memories in general, and this one people did not have a lot to say. First, from the Assassin's Creed fans official group, I got from Dylan Perrault. A treasured game in my heart. I still remember playing on that snow back in the back of my house when my mom called me in to open Christmas present early. Still remember the excitement opening the wrapping paper and seeing this cool-ass dude on the cover. Became obsessed with Assassin's Creed after that. And from Steph Grabbins, I loved it too. I would like if they remastered it. I'm assuming that he's not counting the Ezio trilogy. I heard bad things about it. All right, from Dalian Macadam, there have only been 3 AC games that have reinvented the wheel. Assassin's Creed 2, Black Flag, and Origins, which makes sense when you realize those 3 are always mentioned when it comes to people's favorites.
Who the fuck likes Origins?
I heard good things about Origins.
Origins is fine. It's the first one, right? The first time that they started the RPG stuff. They're in Egypt.
Yeah.
They did really well with the locations accuracy so well. They were like, let's make a documentary mode. We're so confident that it can be used for educational purposes.
I really want to play Origins so much, but it has to be for the show. Otherwise, I just won't do it. So
I just think it's like people who may not like it may not just, maybe it's a locale thing. Like maybe they just don't like sand, because it's coarse and rough and gets everywhere.
But maybe they like their wives because their wives are soft.
All right.
All right. I fucking hate that quote in that movie so much. And from from the official Laser Time community, from Chris Dobson, friend of the show. I like the first game for its fun take on history combined with parkour, but it felt like a tech demo next to 2. This game was one of my game of the years that year. I love the completely insane ending, and it did a great job by 2009 standards of creating an open world. From Mark Isherwood, played it last year after never really getting on with first game and loved it. From Carrie Chandler, friend of the show. I love it. My second favorite in the series after its sequel, Brotherhood. Yeah, that's fair. Right from Rob Fowler, I bought into the hype for the first game, and while I had fun pretending to be medieval Batman, I did get bored by the repetitive gameplay. I actually skipped out on AC2 until the review buzz got me to try it once it dropped down to half price a few months later. I think the thing that sold me was the upgradable base. I have been a sucker for that gameplay since playing Suikoden. It was a much improved sequel. Every complaint I had about the first one had been fixed, and it felt like a leap, or should I say a leap of faith forward for third-person open-world games at the time. The game kept me invested in the series for years. All right, and we have one. Yeah, from the I Watched the Entire Orbital group, I have one comment from Nate McClellan, friend of the show. My first platinum. This game kicks ass. My mom saw me playing this game and told me I wish I could run like that guy. So yeah, okay.
She never saw him bump into anybody.
That does happen a lot, though. Oh, and then before we go on to Shelf Stacker Box, I want to give away a code because I have too many codes. Here, this is Steam code for Salt and Sanctuary. The code is 5RPJ3B5A101 or I01. Mess around with that. It looks like to me it's a 1, but it could be an I. So I don't know. I think that's an O. Pretty sure that's an O. No, that's a 0. Yeah. So good luck with that one. That's the code for Salt and Sanctuary. Somebody will get it. The people tell me. All right, now bring us to Shelf Stacker Box. And Richard, why don't you go first?
Oh, I'm definitely going to shelf this. Definitely going to shelf this. This was a work of art. I enjoyed it. I loved all the mechanics they put in there. They introduced all the other aspects beautifully into the game. Loved the extra assassinations and all the racing and beating up the unfaithful husbands. I mean, that's fun.
There were a lot of unfaithful husbands, too.
Not as many as there could have been, though.
It's the Renaissance.
It was only like about 5 beat-up missions, I think.
In a world where courtesans are so plentiful, yeah, I'm sure there should have been a lot more.
Yeah. Although I don't know if I think maybe they forgive it for the courtesans because those ladies are doing business. It's the ones that are basically stealing the husbands.
Ah, right. I see.
Yeah, they probably because that was a normal thing at that time. Plus,
true. I guess can't count.
And in the 1400s, I mean, women essentially needed men because of how fucked up the system is at this time. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I did like the courier missions, although the one did end in the fisticuffs. I suppose that's actually a nice little thing to add there because not all of them can be helping avoid somebody make a mistake. It's delivering the bad news and of course since you can't be the person who's giving that initially sent the bad news. You can beat up the messenger. So I did it. That was very enjoyable. Everything works so beautifully. I mean, for the few things that I would have liked to have been able to have done and couldn't do because it wasn't designed that way, it's still a great game. Still a great game. I mean, yeah, I would love putting the truth file in its proper order after finding all the symbols, but, they didn't want to do that, and I'm okay with that.
All right, and what about you, Joe?
It's very much going on the shelf for me as well. I love this game. I love the coming-of-age story and the beginning of the trilogy of Ezio Auditore. I also, for unbeknownst reasons, I also really want to learn Italian again because, goddamn, is Italian such a beautifully funny language. So yeah, definitely shelf.
Okay, and what about you, Alan?
Oh yeah, it's a shelf one, that's for sure. I mean, for the most part, for every misjump and mistime jump that I made, and basically anything that I really had a fault with, it's completely overshadowed by just all the memories I have of running around every Italian town and the story itself, and appreciating Ezio for being a very well-rounded character by the end, and ostensibly becoming one of the, I would think, tentpole characters of gaming now.
Oh yeah,
right up there with John Marston and Gordon Freeman, and any other one from that generation too. So its legacy is long-standing. It and Assassin's Creed 2 make up basically it and Brotherhood make up the essential pinnacle of the series to this day. And I will always have fun returning to it. Never gets old. Definitely on the shelf.
Okay. And I'll go last. This is also obviously going on the shelf. I mean, I remembered bits and pieces, but I couldn't believe how much fun I had with this game and how good it is still. Like, it has aged like a fine wine to me. It was just such a great open world game to play, and you can just see how much of this game affects the series going forward for a while. So I loved it. I had a great time, and I'm so happy to be revisiting these. I do want to play the DS one and the PSP one, but that'll come at some point when I have more time. But that's going to happen. I am going to play those.
And the side-scrolling ones, too.
Oh yeah, those are 100% going to happen too. I'm my goal on this podcast is to experience the entire series of Assassin's Creed. That means everything. So,
and then you got to do the watch along of the movies.
there's only one movie. I wouldn't do the other
one.
stuff.
Yeah.
Which I do want to see. Actually, as I think I brought up earlier, I bought a Funko Pop randomly from that movie today for $5 at a toy swap. So
The movie's not bad.
I was like, I don't recognize this assassin, and then I was like, I think this is the movie because like the Assassin's Creed Funko Pops are fucking expensive.
No,
I saw the Ezio one at a store. I'm like, I'll buy this, and I look at the price, $40. I'm like, I'm good. I'll wait if I ever run across it. But yeah I didn't care about it, but now I do.
Yeah, you'll probably wait until you come across it somewhere.
I mean, sometimes you do. Like, I go to a lot of toy swaps. I go to a lot of Funko swaps, and sometimes you just have someone like, here, I just want to get rid of this stuff. Here, $10, $15, and I'll buy it for that. $20. I would even buy it for 20. I just wasn't spending 40. But yeah, all right, and that's everything. And I should enter what we're talking about next week. Next week, you can hear us talk about Castlevania: Dawn of Sorrow. That'll be a fun one.
That's the DS version of Aria of Sorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, the sequel, the DS sequel, which is the first game of the DS trilogy.
I always remember that because it's abbreviated to Castlevania DS, right?
Oh, I didn't even catch that, by the way.
You're welcome.
I should play those since I had my.
Just like I remember the one that, like the first one that was in console form on HD, Harmony of Dissonance HD, Castlevania HD.
Did not catch that either. That's not a good game, by the way. But
Harmony of
Castlevania
Dissonance?
co-op?
yeah, it just doesn't. I mean, I played it. I actually bought every character on it, and I didn't think it worked as well as I wanted it to. But it was hard. I couldn't find people. That was the problem.
And this was after Iga left, right? So we didn't have anything to do with Castlevania, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think Castlevania's always been more of a solo game anyhow.
Until then.
And never again since.
I mean, it's an alright game. I mean, I wouldn't mind if it was somewhere else. It had its issues. That's all. But that's another thing. But yeah. All right. And Richard, where can people find you at?
Again, you can find me up on my YouTube channel, Rich Kale, on YouTube, where I play through various games and franchises and have all sorts of stuff going up. Most days it's 2 videos a day that goes up. Some days it's only 1. But yeah, I'm playing through the Assassin's Creed series on there. I'm still working on the first one on the channel there. And I'm not going for everything like I did for the podcast. So but so you know what to expect when the 2 goes up and starts going up. But yeah, and also got stuff up on various fan fiction sites. So you can come check everything out. I greatly appreciate it.
Right. You will see a link in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's over 500 other episodes of Games My Mom Found. We have done the first Assassin's Creed, so you can go right on Podbean. Just type in whatever you want to search. Type in Resident Evil. Type in Assassin's Creed. Type in Reanimator. You'll find that there, too, for some reason. Metal Gear. We've done all sorts of stuff. Just type in and see what you find. We have a huge backlog of movies, comics, video games, TV season, whatever I can convince people to record with me. So definitely go check all that out.
And whatever we can convince him to do.
Yeah, that too. That does happen, unfortunately. There are things that I did not ever mean to do that have happened on this podcast, like what I recorded last night. So there are things that happen that I don't expect. But you will find everything we do there. We also have a Discord, so if you want to chat with us, you can join our Discord. You'll see a link in the show notes. And we have a new Patreon poll that's starting the time you're hearing this has just started. But because right now I'm continuing my year of movies Mike has never seen. So the next poll is going to be our first Spooktober poll because September is Spooktober. It's Ouija, Origin of Evil, Suspiria, Night of the Creeps, or the Blair Witch Project. You get to vote which of those movies I have to watch, unfortunately. And for the record, I don't want to watch any of those 4. So
I know which one I'm picking.
I don't want any of them. I have no interest in any of them, but I'll do what I do. So yeah, you go see that. Also, I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Hasfair. You can follow her on TikTok. And want to give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, who did the MCU movies with me. He's on the show quite often. He started his own podcast, The Gamer Looks at 40, so definitely go check him out too. And I think that's everything I need to say, so we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.